Hi guys, my name is Emily. Welcome to another Top 5 Wednesday. Top 5 Wednesdays were created by Lainey from Ginger Reads Lady and are currently hosted by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. Links to everything is in the description box down below. Today is September 13th and today I'm talking about books with inaccurate synopses. Books that you should read without reading the synopsis. For various reasons. Let me know in the comments down below if there's a book that really disappointed you based on the synopsis. The first book I have here that I think you should read without reading the synopsis is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. The back of the book makes it sound like it will be some sort of fluffy, magical romance about a time in a tower with a dragon. The dragon, not a dragon. What was so compelling about this novel for me was the sort of dark ugliness, the horrific aspects of the woods. What seemed to be more of the focus of the book was Agnieszka discovering her magic and her own way of doing magic, more than this sort of like protecting the home. Like that's an aspect of it, but it's much more, for me, a story of self-discovery. And the woods is a much more predominant figure in the story than it is on the back of the book. And I think going into this, like if I had read the back of this, I would have had very different expectations than I did, because this book was recommended to me by a friend who focused on those things, who focused on the magic and the relationships and the woods. I didn't even read the back of the book when I got it because my friend had already pitched this book to me and I had bought her pitch, not the pitch on the back of the book. The next book I have here is The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas by John Boyne. Now the back of the book says, if you start to read this book, you will go on a journey with a 9-year-old boy named Bruno, though this isn't a book for 9-year-olds. And sooner or later you will arrive with Bruno at a fence. Fences like this exist all over the world. We hope you never have to encounter one. This is a sort of fantastic representation of childhood during the Holocaust. It's super unhelpful for knowing what you are getting when you get to this. Your protagonist is 9, so you have a middle grade protagonist, but the book is not for middle graders. We don't know what the subject is really, other than fences, and that we hope you never encounter one, and the title is The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. Like, the book literally gives nothing away about itself. And considering that the book is mostly pretty tongue-in-cheek, and it's based a lot around English puns, like Bruno talks about how they're going to Outwith, which only makes sense if you know that he's talking about Auschwitz. It's really bizarrely marketed, it's bizarrely packaged, and the one thing that might give it away, if you are already an educated reader, is the quote, powerful and unsettling, as memorable an introduction to the subject as the Diary of Anne Frank, end quote, and that's from US Today. It's an introduction. This book is supposed to be an introduction to the Holocaust, meaning you don't know anything about the Holocaust. But they never tell you that it's about the Holocaust, they tell you it is about the subject, right? It's about the same subject as Anne Frank's diary, which is about the Holocaust. It's Holocaust literature, but if you don't know what Anne Frank's diary is, you won't know what this is supposed to be introducing you to. Like, it's all there, but it's definitely for an educated reader, but if it's for an educated reader, why is this an introduction to it? Like, it's just bizarrely marketed, and probably one of the most ineffective synopses I've ever read, so there you go. The next book I have here is The Best Kind of People by Zoe Whittall. My issue with this synopsis is that it's ugly. This was a really thought-provoking book about rape culture, about family dynamics, about unearned privileges. It provoked a lot of discussion at my book club reading of it, and the back of the book just sort of lists these clunky things, like, here are all the things this book's about. You don't need to think about any of it because we told you what everybody does and what it means. This is clearly a book that wants people to talk about it. It's a book about a topical issue, rape culture, white privilege, inappropriate relationships between teachers and children for a book that I think is meant as a conversation starter, is meant as a way for the reader to really start thinking through contemporary society and gender and power and privilege. The back of the book really gives you a very narrow box. Again, this is a book that I was sold by a coworker, not by the synopsis. I only really truly read the synopsis when I picked it as our book club read, and I was like, ooh, this sounds really bad from the synopsis, but from my coworker's description, this sounds amazing and like it will be really thought-provoking. The next book I have here is a classic. It has a picture in the web that says "some pig" in the background with text over top. These are the words in Charlotte's Web, high in the barn. Her spider web tells of her feelings for a little pig named Wilbur, as well as the feelings of a little girl named Fern, who loves Wilbur. Their love has been shared by millions of readers. That's it. Is it because it's a classic that it's supposed to speak for itself? Like, it really doesn't tell you what this book is about. I mean, I guess it does in like the loosest sense, but this is not how I would describe Charlotte's Web, which is a book that I have come to deeply love and appreciate. Also the fact that this like faded gray image is supposed to be part of the synopsis. I can guarantee you most people probably skipped from the red text down to the purple text and missed the giant "some pig" in the middle. They tried to be creative, but I don't think they entirely succeeded. And I don't know if it's because it's a classic, they figure, oh, everybody knows the story, we don't have to put a lot of effort into this blurb. But I feel like especially because it's a classic and people are like, oh, it's old and boring, you probably want to give it like a really punchy, engaging synopsis. So the last book I have here is Ramona Blue by Julie Murphy. Let me read you the synopsis. Ramona was only 5 years old when Hurricane Katrina changed her life forever. Cool. Eye-catching. It's also above the water. It's white, it stands out. Great. Since then, it's been Ramona and her family against the world. Standing over 6 feet tall with unmistakable blue hair, Ramona is sure of 3 things. She likes girls, she's fiercely devoted to her family, and she's destined for something bigger than the trailer she calls home in Eulogy, Mississippi. But juggling multiple jobs, her flaky mom and her well-meaning but ineffectual dad forces her to be the adult of the family. Now with her sister Hattie pregnant, responsibility weighs more heavily than ever. The return of her childhood friend Freddie brings a welcome distraction. Ramona's friendship with the former competitive swimmer picks up exactly where it left off, and soon he's talked her into joining him for laps at the pool. But as Ramona falls in love with swimming, her feelings for Freddie shift too, which is the last thing she expected. With her growing affection for Freddie making her question her sexual identity, Ramona begins to wonder if perhaps she likes girls and guys, or if this new attraction is just a fluke. Either way, Ramona will discover that for her, life and love are more fluid than they seem. There is a questioning of Ramona's sexuality in this book, true. But for me, what weighed more heavily than that was the discussion of class and the ways in which Ramona is necessarily disadvantaged because of her social positioning. Because she's working so many jobs, her grades are necessarily lower, which disadvantage her for scholarship money and grants, which keep her from going to university, which keep her from getting a better job and getting out of university and breaking the cycle. The dust jacket makes it sound like it's going to be really about Ramona questioning her sexuality, which she does. It's not wrong, but the overwhelming theme of the book is Ramona's class and thinking about class. And I don't think that was really reflected in the synopsis, which I think is too bad because I think that's also an important discussion to have and should be a reason that you read this book as well as the questioning of sexuality. So those are 5 books that I think could have better synopses. Let me know in the comments down below a synopsis that really does a disservice to a book that you like, or a synopsis that did a bad job of selling a book to you, or let me know a book that has a great synopsis that didn't live up to its expectations, because I think all of the books here have pretty crap synopses. I didn't pick a book that the synopsis really sold me, but the story let me down. any of those things, all of those things, chat with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!